Hey guys, so I recently received a box from Juno Co. This is the first one that I've received from them, so I'm very curious to see what is inside. So if you guys are also curious to see what is inside and see what we can do with these items, then just keep watching. Alright, so let's jump right in. I believe they said this was going to be their new brush sets. I've previously tried their velvet sponge, and I also did a full face using the velvet sponge challenge. So let's see what's inside. A nice little note says, "Hello lovely" from Juno Co. And it says, "Your package arrived. Yay! We can't wait to see all the beautiful looks you create with your Juno Co goodies. Don't forget to tag us at the Juno Co. Enjoy." And inside it says, "Hello gorgeous, hashtag Juno babe." So let's dig right in. Ooh. Okay, so it looks like we got two of their microfiber rosé velvet sponges. So I previously had the blue velvet sponge. They now have the rose ones. It says, "Achieve the ultimate in foundation coverage with this makeup brush and blender fusion sponge. Save 50% more product and spend 50% less time applying with this innovative design." So we have two of these. Ooh, and then what I'm super excited about, a whole bunch of new brushes. So I figured today I would sit down and use some makeup that I haven't used in a while and try out these brushes. So let's jump right in. Okay, so they all have like an angular pointed handle. Right here it comes kind of like a, I don't know, like one of those things you put in your hair, those like hair pick things. It has like the soft matte touch on the handle, very lightweight. They're not very heavy, not weighted at all. This one I believe is contour, but it's already shedding, and I rarely use one like this, but it's probably meant for like, I don't know, is this meant for highlight or cream contour? They don't give you like instructions on what they're meant for, so I will just use them for what I see fit. This one's probably gonna be a fluffy powder brush. This one could be highlight, it could be concealer. We have this one which could be contour. We have this one which could also be blush or highlight. We have then it looks like we have some eye brushes. Ooh, some eye brushes here, a liner brush, and a brow spoolie. So let's jump right in with foundation, and we will use the sponge for that, and then we'll get to the brushes. I'm gonna go dampen this and I'll be right back. And I didn't realize until I got out into the sunlight that this is actually like a holographic, what do you call it, like a mermaid skin packaging. It's really, really cute. All right, so this is what the sponge looks like fully dampened. If I remember correctly, I feel like these dry out quickly when you're doing your makeup, so perhaps have a setting spray handy. So today we're gonna go into the Healthy Foundation from Physicians Formula. I haven't tried this one in a while, and I'm using the shade LN3. I find that I have better luck with this sponge if I do like a dragging and patting combination. Just patting it doesn't really spread it as well as kind of the drag and then pat method. So that's what I do with this sponge. For concealer, I'm going to grab my Stroke of Beauty Skin Finish Concealer in Light. I haven't used this one in quite a while, and I do remember it being really good. I'm just going to dip my sponge in and just apply it under the eyes. So now that the cream products are done, it's time to jump into the powder products. For powder, one that I haven't used in a while is the IT Cosmetics by Pores Pressed Powder, and I remember loving this one. I'm going to grab brush number ES12 and kind of dust this all over the face to set. It works really well, but for the under eyes, I feel like I need like a smaller brush, and I think that this would work a lot better. This one's number ES13. You can really kind of pack the powder underneath the eyes right here. I think that's probably what I'd use this one for, either for concealer or for under eye powder. This one worked well. I just prefer a slightly larger brush compared to my Real Techniques brush, which is just a little bit wider and a little bit more spread out. I prefer something a little bit fluffier that will just kind of spread powder quickly, but this one was nice. It was soft, so no complaints here. Next up, we have contour, a contour that I haven't used in quite a while. This is the L'Oreal Trumatch Lumi Bronze It. Looks like this, and this one's in the shade Light. I love this one. I haven't used it in quite a while. You can see I've made quite a dent in it, so it is a favorite. And there really isn't a big fluffy brush for bronzing and contouring, so I'm going to use this big one for bronzing, and then I'll go in perhaps with like this tapered one for contour. I think this is a little too fluffy for bronzing because it just spreads out really easily, but it's nice for powder. All right, next I'm gonna go into ES15 and see if I can kind of chisel out the cheekbones a little bit more. I like that these have white tips so you can see how much product is coming off on the brush. And then perhaps the sides of the nose. Okay, that worked really well for chiseling out the cheekbones. I'm gonna do a little bit more on the temples here. And then the jawline. Okay, so I'm liking the contour. Next up, I'm gonna try number ES16. It's kind of like this tapered soft brush for blush. This might be a little too compact for blush, but we'll give it a try. We're trying this Almay blush that I haven't touched in quite a while. This is in the shade 20 Nude. Got all these different colors in here, and I usually just swirl them all together. You can see the color. That worked pretty well. I also think this will be really good for highlight, so I'm going to dust this off and use it for highlight as well. And for highlight today, we have a NYX highlight that was part of like the holiday collection that I never got around to trying on camera. This one is the Powdered Sugar Illuminating Powder Highlight. The back looks like a candy cane, really, really cute. The front looks like one of the Laura Geller Baked Gelato blushes. It has that like swirl to it. This is the color. It's like a beautiful iridescent pink and like icy white gold. It's hard to explain, but it's really pretty. So I can't wait to try this on the face. Pretty. It's kind of nice with this fluffier brush. I'm not getting like an icy beam on my face. It's more diffused, which I like. Ooh, that's pretty. And then with my finger, I'm just gonna use a little bit on the Cupid's bow here. Okay, that's a really fun highlight. It's not too glittery, not too chunky. Just kind of looks like, just like a nice, like light golden highlight on the face. I like that. Okay, next up we have the eyes, eyebrows, and lips. And this is what we have left. I just don't see myself using this one at all, so I will probably donate that one. It's just not something that I find useful. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4 eye brushes, a brow spoolie, and a liner. And I don't use cream liners, so the only thing I would use this for would be for my brows, but I don't really see that happening, so I will also be donating this one. So let me do my brows real quick, and then we will jump into the eyes. I'm gonna take this Tattoo Studio Brow Gel from Maybelline, which I haven't used in a while. It comes out on like this wand, but you can't just kind of brush it on, so I usually paint some onto a brow spoolie like this and then feather it through my brows to kind of add some definition and some color. I'm just gonna keep them very natural today, just add a little color. I did kind of darken the eyebrows when I darkened my hair, which worked really well. I don't spend as much time on my brows, but this works really well so far. Okay, for the eyes, some palettes that I haven't used in a while would be my Tarte lip palette, my Wet n Wild, this is called the Rose in the Air, and my Natasha Denona Tropic palette. There's a new Natasha Denona palette coming out, if it's not out already. So I figured why not just play with these. Use number 17 all over the lid, just kind of pack on this cream shadow right here. I definitely prefer a larger brush for packing color all over the lid. This one's a little small for me and it's taking a long time. Okay, veins are neutralized. Let's jump into the Tarte palette and kind of pick a crease color. All I have is this kind of flat, stumpy blending brush. This one is number 19. I usually prefer ones that have like a rounded top, but we'll give it a try. We're gonna go into Force of Nature right here from the Tarte palette. They pick up really well. Yeah, it's a very small circumference, so it's not like fluffing the color out like I normally like in a crease brush. I feel like that's something that they're missing from this line, like a fluffy crease brush and a highlight brush would both be great additions to this line so far. And then I'm going to go into Multitasker over here to deepen up the outer corner with that same brush. Then going into the Denona palette, I'm going to grab Limoncello right here with brush number 17. I'm going to dampen it first and see how well it picks up a metallic shadow. Ooh. Moving on, I'm going to use the ES20, which is more of like a chubby flat smudger brush. I'm going to go into Cocoa from this palette and smudge it along the lower lash line, just a little bit of a warmer shade. And then I'm going to go into a little bit of Pastel Melon from the same palette, just right under the brown. The only brush left that I didn't use is number 18, and it's more of like a kind of angled crease brush perhaps, which might be good for like cleaning up the edges when I'm all done. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go into the Tarte palette and grab Supermom right here and just clean up the edges. Then let me hop off, add a little mascara, and I'll be back to show you the finished look. Okay guys, so here is the end look. I ended up adding a little bit of the Healthy Lip from Physicians Formula and some Better Than Sex mascara from Too Faced, and that is the finished look. Let's talk about the brushes real quick. So I liked this powder brush. I thought it worked really well for powder and for bronzer. I don't think that it works super well for bronzer because I prefer my bronzer brushes to be a little bit more compact. But if you have like a large forehead, it's fine for large spaces, but for like more detailed spots, I think that it's a little bit too fluffy. But for powder, I thought that it worked really well, super soft. I will definitely continue using this one. For contour, I thought this worked excellently for chiseling out the cheekbones and for the sides of the nose. It's a little large for the nose, but I mean, it pinches really well, so you could easily get that like pinched nose with a pinched brush look. And I haven't had any bristles falling out on these brushes, which is really nice. I will continue to use that one. This one, while it's a little bit too compact for blush, I thought it did a really beautiful job for highlighting kind of like the cheekbones. But again, if you want more of like a detailed highlight, like if you want more of like a precise highlight, perhaps use one of the brushes that I used for the eyes. But I thought it worked really well for like a precise blush application and highlight. Number 13, which looks like this, I thought this worked really well for kind of packing the powder underneath the eyes. This would probably be an excellent liquid concealer brush as well. I don't know why I didn't use I didn't think of that, but I just used my sponge for that, but it worked really well. Number 22, the spoolie worked really well for kind of combing the brow gel through my brows and kind of keeping them in place. I think it works well. I feel like everyone needs a spoolie in their brush collection. Number 19, which was like the flat top blender. I didn't love this one for the crease. It was a little bit too flat and didn't have enough fluff to really spread the product out. But for the outer corner, for like smaller detailed work, this worked really well. So if you're looking for like a tighter, denser outer corner brush, I thought this worked really well for that. Number 18, I personally don't really use these angled brushes hardly ever. So for me, this is probably one I would pass on. Number 18, it just didn't really hold a purpose for me, but perhaps you guys have a use for that in your life. Number 17, I worked really well for this shimmer shade. I really like flat brushes like this that can pack on an intense metallic or shimmer, and I thought that it worked beautifully for that. So I really like number 17. And then number 20 worked really well for smudging along the lower lash line and keeping it close to my lash line without fluffing the product everywhere. So I like this one as well. And as previously mentioned, I don't think I will find myself ever using number 14. It's just not a shape or brush style that I personally use, but if you're really big into cream contour, you might enjoy this one. But for me, this one's a pass, and I rarely do cream liner. I have little to no use for number 21, but that's just me personally. I just don't find myself reaching for brushes like these. There's nothing wrong with them. I just don't find myself reaching for them, so these will be donated. And finally, we have the Rose Velvet Sponge. Like I said, I find the most effective way to use this is to kind of drag and pat, to kind of spread the product out and then pat it in. And I think it works amazingly. This one stayed damp during the makeup process. The blue one I felt like dried out faster, so I like this one more than the blue one. They're original, but it works really well. It does give you like a soft velvet look. Don't mind the bruise on my hand. My vacuum attacked me. So I really like this one. I think it works really well. I'll continue to use it, and I'm glad I have a backup. So that is it for the new brushes and the new rose sponge from Juno Co. Hope you guys enjoyed kind of seeing these in use and hearing my opinion on the new brush line. I will leave the link to the brushes and the sponge down below as always. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and as always, I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.